Hello everybody, welcome back, and let us continue with exploiting our command execution vulnerability. So, in the previous video we basically tried out this web server by typing in our IP address and then typing in another command to see if it will execute it. Now you divide two terminal commands with dot and comma. I can show you that it works in your terminal as well. So if you type here ifconfig and then dot comma and then who am I, it will basically print out the ifconfig output, and also it will print the who am I output. So you can do a bunch of the commands like that. So ifconfig who am I ls, and it will print out all of these commands with their output, as we can see. So now that we know that, we need to find the best way to use this vulnerability in order for us to gain access to that machine. So let us try out to see, for example, if we type here 192.168.1.1 and then for example uname -a, let's see if it will execute that, and as we can see it does execute it. It gives us the version of Linux and the name, as we can see, OSBWA. Now that we know that, we can certainly do better than this, than just gathering information command by command. We can actually try to make a connection with this machine to our own machine. Now, in order for us to do that, we will use a tool called Netcat. Now, Netcat is basically, let me just clear the screen. With Netcat, we can actually connect to another PC with just two simple commands, which for our own PC we need to set up the listening port, and that listening port for our example will be 12345. Now on the listening port we will listen for the intercoming connection from any PC. And in this case that PC will be our vulnerable OS virtual machine, since we will run the command in its own terminal, since it is vulnerable to the command execution. So here we want to type here this command nc and then -lvp12345. Now if you want to check out, before running that, if you want to check out some of the options, let me just see what is the syntax here. You can see what lvp stands for. And you can see also some of the other options here. As we can see, -l stands for listen mode for inbound connections. We will use that. -v stands for verbose. Use twice to be more verbose. We also use that. And -p, let me just find it, is port. So we specify the port to be 12345. You can specify any port as long as it is not in use. But in this case I will use nc -lvp for listen, verbose and port number 12345. Now if you run this, it will say listening on any 12345. This any means on any interface, on any networking interface. So once we receive the connection, we will be able to execute commands to the virtual machine from here, to the victim machine from here. So let us just open up our Firefox. And now what we want to do is make this machine connect to our Kali Linux machine. We can do that, so we can simply type 192.168.1.1, so it performs the pinging of that machine, and then we put the dot and comma in order to run our next command, which will be nc traditional, nc dot, and then traditional, and then -e, and then we want to go to the bin bash folder in the victim machine, and after that we want to specify the IP address of our Kali Linux machine. So this will basically mean the to which machine should it connect, and we want it to connect to our Kali Linux machine. Now in order for me to check that, let me just type here ifconfig so I don't specify wrong port. So we want to connect to this port from the victim machine, to this IP address from the victim machine. So we type here our Kali Linux IP address, and then we type the port that we are listening on, which is 12345 in my case. And if you specified any other port, just type here that port after the IP address of the Kali Linux machine. Now, what this command will do is, first of all, it will ping our router, and then it will execute the next command, which is netcat, and it will connect to our Kali Linux machine on this port. And this bin bash basically allows us to execute commands on that machine. So if we type here submit, you will notice that it basically will just ping. I believe it won't give any output right here. Or maybe it will just stay here loading. Let us check that out. Yeah, it will probably stay here loading. But if we open our terminal, you can see connect to 192.168.1.5, which is us, from 192.168.6. We can see that someone has connected to our listening port. And that is basically it. It won't say anything, it will just give you this output, and it will wait for something. Now what it waits for is the command. So if we type here who am I, who am I, you will see that we get the output www minus data. Type here the uname minus I. We can see that we are currently running commands on the Linux system, on our victim system. We made a reverse connection. We made it connect to our own Kali Linux machine, which basically means we exploited it, since now we can type here ls in order to see files. We can change directory and type ls here again, and we can see all of the files on that machine. We can also check the IP address, so you can see that it really is that machine. So if you type here sbin and then /ifconfig, it will say that the IP address is 192.168.1.6, which is the IP address of our victim machine. And I will show you that, as if I type right here ifconfig, you can see that the IP addresses do match 192.168.6 and 192.168.1.6. So that's about it for this exploitation of the command injection. You can basically now navigate your way and then try to find something useful if this was a real machine, but since this is purposely made vulnerable machine, I won't be actually trying to find something right here, since I know there really isn't anything special. And in the next lecture I will show you how you can actually do the same thing but on the blind command injection. Now I will explain what blind command injection is in the next tutorial, and I hope I see you there. Bye.